Just a quick message before the episode gets underway. I want to let you know that there is an opportunity to sponsor the RG10 podcast. More about this at the end of the episode, so keep listening. Welcome to the RG10 podcast, brought to you by the people behind RG10 magazine. The aim is to bring you interviews, information and entertainment. In fact, anything interesting that's relevant to living around here. In this episode of the RG10 podcast, I have reached for the spooky section of the sound effects box, and this is going to provide us with the audio backdrop to our Halloween special.
So take my old withered hand, walk with me, and let me regale you with some of the locality's scariest tales.
Let us start with the writings of Shakespeare, the Bard of Avon, Willie Shaky. This reading comes from one of the nation's finest thespians and is from The Merry Wives of Windsor.
There is an old tale goes that Herne the Hunter, sometime a keeper here in Windsor Forest, doth all the winter time at still midnight walk round about an oak with great ragged horns, and there he blasts the tree and takes the cattle, and makes milk kine yield blood, and shakes a chain in a most hideous and dreadful manner.
The Herne the Hunter that Shakespeare is referring to is a mysterious ghost with stag antlers who rides through Windsor Forest on winter nights. He makes it his business to rattle chains, wither trees, torment the local wildlife, and bewitch cattle, causing their milk to be replaced with blood. Lovely on your cornflakes. Back in the 15th century, when Herne was first seen, Windsor Forest spread over most of Berkshire, and over the years there have been reports of him being spotted in Twyford. There are a few legends to explain his activities, but here's one. Herne was a keeper of the forest who was bewitched by a nun. He carried her off to a cave deep in Windsor Forest, and he killed her. Realising that he'd committed a great offence and filled with remorse, he hanged himself on a tree in Windsor Forest. Quite why he chooses to ride around with antlers on his head is something of a mystery. Herne has cropped up in many pieces of highbrow literature and film over the years, none of them finer than ITV's 1980s Saturday teatime romp, Robin of Sherwood.
Wolf's Head. Outlaw. Do you fear me, boy?
Why should I fear you? You're a man.
I am your destiny. Herne the Hunter. Look at me. They are all waiting. The blinded, the maimed, the men locked in the stinking dark, all wait for you.
Now, I've seen this clip on YouTube, and to me it looks like it takes place in the woods behind the wagon and horses. Surely this is proof enough of Herne's link to Twyford. Staying with pubs now and heading to Wargrave and to the Bull. Now I'm going to type the following search terms into Google: the Bull, Wargrave and Ghost. Clicking now on the top result, and it goes to greatbritishghosttour.co.uk, and let me read it to you. The Bull is a 15th century coaching inn with many old features that all add to such an amazing building. It has 4 rooms available for accommodation, all of which are en suite. That's lovely, isn't it? But now the tone rather changes.
Phenomena here include the sounds of a woman crying. This is set to hark back to when a previous landlord discovered his wife was having an affair, so he threw her out and forbade her to see their only child ever again. The apparition of a tall man wearing a black hat has been reported, sitting near the open log fireplace.
Well, that took a bit of a dark turn, didn't it? Well, in the name of research, I went to the Bull and I looked for a ghost. I witnessed nothing, and yet I did see a fine roast dinner. One moment it was on my plate, a few moments later it had disappeared, as did the beer beside it. Make of that what you will. And finally to Sonning, and not one, but two tales of the unexpected. First, the mill at Sonning Theatre. There is talk of an apparition known as Lady Philomere. It is said that she threw herself into the mill, committed suicide, and now wanders backstage, occasionally treading the boards. I added that last bit because, to be honest, there's barely any details about that story anyway, and I just wanted to, flesh it out a bit. But how about this one? I'm going to take you back to the year of 2013, 9 years ago, and reports in many august media organs of a mystery letterbox appearing mysteriously on Sonning Bridge. Why so odd? Well, it was on a buttress, one of those brick pillar bits that hold the bridge up, and it could only be reached by river users. And which Sonning resident did the fine representatives of the press turn to for a comment about such a marvel of the unexplained? Theresa May? Well, no, she wasn't available. So the world's #1 spoon botherer, Uri Geller, reluctantly stepped forward. Notoriously media-shy Uri, who at that time had lived in the village for 33 years, said that he had
never seen anything like it.
He went on to add that
there are many sightings of a child ghost that walks on the bridge. Maybe it was the ghost of a mischievous little girl.
He then said,
I've never seen anything like this anywhere in the world. It's a new one on me.
A new one on me too, Uri. Anyway, the Royal Mail chipped in on the action, saying that
the recent appearance of a postbox frontage on the side of the river bridge at Sonning is a mystery to us. It's certainly not an operational posting facility, and we have no knowledge of how it arrived at this location.
Listener, I have no idea if the box or if indeed the ghost is still there. I am too spooked to go and check. Anyway, I must lie down and save my energy because these tales of ghouls have made me feel weak, and these trick-or-treat sweeties will not eat themselves. Good night, or should I say, goodbye. Thanks so much for listening to the RG10 podcast. We're now into Series 7 of the show. We've been going over 2 years and we've passed half a century of episodes. I'd love to give a massive thanks to our loyal local listeners, and it's because our listeners are so loyal and so local that makes us such an attractive proposition for sponsors. So if you're interested in sponsoring an episode or even the whole show, then we'd love to hear from you. Finally, if you've got any thoughts about who or what we can include in future episodes, then please do let us know via the rg10mag.com website or on any of our various social media channels. Thanks for listening and goodbye.